Yo, hello, and welcome to the Best Football Show. I'm Brian Baldinger, coming from my villa right here in South Jersey. You can find me at Baldy NFL on Instagram and, Twitter and X and Threads and YouTube and TikTok, you name it. You find me at the NFL Network. I'll be on with the reporters, Tom Pelissero, Ian Rappaport, the whole group starting, I think, pretty soon, maybe this week, as we get closer and closer to the release of the schedule, May 15th, Wednesday night this week. By the way, this Best Football Show can be downloaded daily on your free Odyssey app. Your free Odyssey app, like, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. Tell all of your friends. I'm just here basically just, sort of reflecting and musing on the things that I'm hearing from the inside, and all that kind of good stuff as we get closer and closer to Wednesday night. So we know this now. We know this, that the season is going to kick off. Thursday night football is going to kick off September 5th at Gia Field at Arrowhead Stadium with the Kansas City Chiefs playing host to the Baltimore Ravens. If you all remember, that was the AFC Championship game. It was in Boston. It was in Baltimore. Back in January. It was in Baltimore. Of course, the Chiefs won that day. They jumped out to a 17-0 lead and held on and won that game. And people in Baltimore were just befuddled because they just didn't really try to establish the run. The Chiefs came out in a quick passing game. Travis Kelce was unstoppable, including a 19-yard touchdown pass for the opening touchdown of the game against Kyle Hamilton. It was great coverage. It was a better throw. Somebody told me today that the coverage was a 10 out of 10, but the throw was an 11 out of 10. It was just that good. So we know the season's going to kick off September 5th, Thursday night. We've got a rematch of the AFC Championship game. It should be great. Lamar Jackson, the 2023 league MVP. Patrick Mahomes, the 2022 league MVP, Super Bowl MVP. We've got two MVP quarterbacks. I mean, honestly, you can't argue with it. You can make a case for other games, and you can say, well, why would CBS give up that game? CBS is the official network of the AFC. Well, it's just that good. You get MVP level quarterbacks going head to head. In a rematch of the AFC Championship game. To me, it makes perfect sense. Just get everybody excited. We start training camp towards the end of July, and literally for 6 straight weeks, we're going to all be leading up to that first game in Kansas City. So congratulations, that game has leaked. We already knew that Friday night, September 6th, the second game of the season, was going to take place in Sao Paulo, Brazil. We know that it's going to be the Philadelphia Eagles against the Green Bay Packers. It's going to be Jalen Hurts and Jordan Love. It's going to be the Packers coming off a resounding playoff victory in Dallas, spanking the Cowboys at home, wild card weekend, and then really giving the San Francisco 49ers all they can handle. And we know that Josh Jacobs is now the running back in Green Bay. We know that they've had a good draft. They drafted a left tackle. We'll see what happens there. They've drafted, a middle linebacker in Edgerrin Cooper, a starting safety in Javon Bullock. I mean, they have upgraded, and along with signing Xavier McKinney, a proven safety in free agency, they've gotten probably better down the middle of that defense while they have changed defensive coordinators, while the Eagles have changed both their coordinators. Vic Fangio coming in and replacing Sean Desai, along with Kellen Moore coming in and replacing Brian Johnson. So we now know that September 5th, Thursday night, we've got a great one with Baltimore visiting Kansas City. We know Friday night, the first game ever played in South America in Sao Paulo, Brazil, is going to be the Eagles and Green Bay Packers. And I'm hearing that one of Sunday's games is going to be the Pittsburgh Steelers visiting the Atlanta Falcons. I hear it. Makes sense. You got Russell Wilson, new quarterback in Pittsburgh. You got Kirk Cousins, new quarterback in Atlanta. If you're curious about these matchups so far, I don't know that it's 100% Atlanta Pittsburgh visiting Atlanta. I think it makes sense. I'm not here to give it the 100% stamp on it, but I'm hearing that game could very well be played Sunday afternoon. Now, what we know is what we've always known. The quarterbacks drive this whole league. And so quarterback matchups are important. And we love to kind of build the initial threads, the initial storylines to start a season. We kind of love to build them around quarterback play. So if you remember last year, San Francisco with Brock Purdy came to Pittsburgh with their quarterback at the time, no longer there. They had that 2 young quarterbacks, same draft. One was taken number 20, one was taken as Mr. Irrelevant. So that was a match. So that's an example. But you could certainly see Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels, Chicago and Washington going at it. I mean, I don't know that I don't have that from Mike North or anybody from the NFL offices about the schedules, but I can imagine Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels kind of getting after it. The number 1 and number 2 picks in the draft, both quarterbacks. That's kind of how it kind of starts. And look, it's a long season. There's 18 weeks. There's 17 games each team. Typically, division games go later in the year. They love to build those rivalries up when there's something really to play for. Sometimes those games can count as 2 games when you get a division win. So that's something to look forward to. We will be back here probably before Wednesday night as more and more of these games begin to leak out. But we have seen plenty of talk about these rookie quarterbacks and what they're going through. And everybody has a different approach. Gerard Mayo in New England with their number 3 pick, Drake May, their first pick at quarterback. I mean, he's out there saying he's got a long way to go. He's got a lot to learn. Okay? That's an approach. When you look at what's going on in Chicago, they have already named Caleb Williams the starting quarterback. He's going to get every meaningful offseason rep, whether it's OTAs, whether it's mini camps, whether it's training camp, whether it's, scheduled scrimmages before we get to the regular season. Caleb Williams is the starting quarterback. Bo Nix, obviously, this was an important pick for Sean Payton and the Denver Broncos. They feel like they didn't get it right with Russell Wilson. It wasn't Sean Payton's guy. That's fine. Head coaches get that chance to coach their guy of choice. 12th pick in the draft, 6th quarterback taken. Bo Nix sitting in there with another quarterback, from a small school in Colorado. 2 rookies competing from different ends of the spectrum. Put up big numbers like Bo Nix did. He's out there competing. So I think all that stuff is really important. I think it's important to see the approach, to see if there's going to be competition. Does J.J. McCarthy, does he get a chance to compete with Sam Darnold in Minnesota? Or is it just simply J.J. McCarthy's job to lose? Like, I just remember back in 2008, Matt Ryan was the 3rd pick in the draft. And there was plenty of conversation within the organization of Atlanta with new head coach Mike Smith and owner Arthur Blank about who to take. Do you take a really talented defensive tackle out of LSU, or do you take the quarterback? So they took the quarterback. And I remember I was around that team a lot that summer. That summer, Matt Ryan was in full competition with an incumbent quarterback who was a high pick at one point. And they set up a competition. And it was both quarterbacks got a chance to start a preseason game. Both quarterbacks got a chance to play with the number 1 offense. Both players got plenty of opportunities to compete. And Matt Ryan won the job, and it was the right choice. Matt Ryan won the job. He competed for the job. Obviously, Matt Ryan's now going to sit on the desk at CBS, their pregame show. Him and J.J. Watt, newly hired. And Matt Ryan probably talked about that, 2008, that preseason, and how they set it up to be a competition. They didn't want to just give the job to Matt Ryan. They wanted him to earn it. And they wanted the players to know that he's earning it. And I think that's important. I understand Caleb Williams, number one pick in the draft. I get it. All right. There's not a lot of competition there. I get in Washington, Jaden Daniels is a starter. You can say that, all right, they've got, a former, high draft pick quarterback there. Maybe he gives competition, maybe he doesn't. I get all that. But I think it's important for the quarterback to earn the respect, to win the job in front of his team, in camp, in practice every day, how he prepares, how he plays in preseason, how he handles a 2-minute drill, how he handles the media, how he interacts with his team. All that stuff is really, really important. So, J.J. McCarthy, I hope he gets that chance. We'll see how, Kevin O'Connell kind of conducts it. It'll be really interesting. And of course, in Atlanta, Michael Penix Jr. has already looked good from his time throwing it. Doesn't mean much. We'll see when Kirk Cousins, is fully healthy and can go, what that's going to look like. But anyways, that's kind of an advance here today of what the schedule is starting to look like. It's starting to look like it's a matchup of elite quarterbacks in Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes Thursday night, September 5th, of Jordan Love, who threw for over 4,000 yards last year, started 19 games. Can't say enough about just how productive and efficient he was and how he kind of blew you out. In fact, you can go back to 2022, week 12 on a Thursday night. Jordan Love came in the fourth quarter, and the Packers were down 2 touchdowns, and he hit Christian Watson on a 63-yard cross for a touchdown to put the Packers back into the game at that time, 37-30, cut the lead with 9 minutes to go in the game, and it was an absolute dime, like many dimes that Jordan Love threw last year. So Jordan Love, Jalen Hurts. Can Jalen Hurts, under Kellen Moore, get back to what he looked like the first half of last year in all of 2022, where he was an elite player and a real candidate to be a league MVP, probably 14 weeks into 2022 before he hurt that shoulder against the Chicago Bears. He was an MVP candidate for sure. Can he get back to playing at that level? And then if what I'm hearing plays out, where Pittsburgh with Russell Wilson goes to Atlanta and plays Kirk Cousins, 2 free agent signings at the opposite end of the spectrum. One guy is playing for $1 million. Another guy got $100 guaranteed $1 million. So that will be a storyline that will be played up if that comes true. And if we see that Wednesday night, the balance sheet of how much each team is paying that quarterback will be a storyline. And then who plays better on, I guess it's September 8th is kickoff Sunday. So that's what I know right now. This has been the best football show. I'm going to come back to you a bunch this week as news breaks. The schedule starts getting kind of released piecemeal, and then we'll get to Wednesday night. We'll all be watching. We'll all be listening, and we'll all be looking at the schedule, checking off wins and losses and all that kind of good stuff, and matchups and national games and who got the most national games. And, one of the holdups of the schedule, why it's being released on Wednesday, May 15th, I hear, is because they were trying to figure out Christmas falls on a Wednesday this year. They want to play a game on Christmas. They've never played a game on a Wednesday before, but they're going to play a game on Christmas on a Wednesday. Now, how do you handle that? Like, you can't play Sunday and then play Wednesday. Like, you can't do that. So would they play on Saturday? This is the holiday season now. Would you play on a Saturday or a Friday and then play on a Wednesday? Or is there a bye week? Like, that's too late for a bye week. So they were trying to figure out how to give the teams maximum amount of rest and keep it as fair as possible for that Christmas Day game. So that was one of the things I think holding it up. Anyways, That's what I know right now. That's what I'm, looking. That's what I'm sharing with you today. But there'll be much more to share as the week progresses. Thanks for joining me, everybody. And I look forward to talking to you real soon.